Hey everyone, Pastor Dave. How you doing? Today I felt a need to do a second part of the cycle of forgiveness because it is such a pretty big topic. But, of course, before we do that, I do have to, let's see, where did I put it? I should have had that out. My God, you think I'm so unprofessional. Oh, here we go. Yes, my certificate of ordination. I do refer to myself as Pastor Dave, and I do have an ordination paper. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see, how does that look? Okay. It's my certificate of ordination. And for a whole $32, I was able to become a pastor. Yep, teaching Christian values, that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't believe in the God of Abraham because he's really quite a nasty God. And to be a devotee of that kind of God, it's not worth it. But I do think there are some Christian values which are worth holding on to. I wouldn't regard myself as a Christian in the way those that go to church and, do all the churchy Christian kind of non-Christian things that they do. I'll explain that. I mean, the whole tithing, the whole, not believing in evolution, not believing in climate change, all those things that make me reject Christianity. But still, even if Christ wasn't real, and it's hard to know if he was real or not, but if he was, great. And if some of the things that are attributed to him, great. At least we can have a dialogue. Dialogue is about the value of forgiveness. I think extreme forgiveness, I think that kind of power is wonderful. And it's something that real Christians probably do on a daily basis. And their politics reflects that. They're generous. They want to help those that are less fortunate. They want to protect those that are in need of protection. They don't have this fear that tells them that immigrants can't be allowed in this country and that we should fear everyone that comes to this country. That's not a Christian thing. Immigrants are not something that you should reject. You should be proud that we are a kind of country that can actually protect people who are not being well cared for or protected in other countries. You should be reaching out. You should be so glad. You should be sponsoring families. You should be hoping that as many people as we can. I mean, we have to be practical. I get it. We should have an immigration policy. There should be a procedure. And the people that went around that policy and they have a misdemeanor because they came into this country or they overstayed their visa or whatever the reason is, and they are producing and they are tax paying, they do all the things that normal citizens in this country do. So yes, immigrants that are here illegally and their only crime is the fact that they didn't use the immigration system that we have. And you can't forgive them for that. Really, it's regarded as a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. It's not a major crime. It's a small crime. They wanted to protect their family. They came to this country. They're working hard to take care of themselves and their family. And you, as a Christian, just can't see your way clear to forgiving them for that, to provide amnesty. I know the concept of amnesty sounds offensive to you, but really what you're doing is just forgiving them. Says, okay, Here, we need a pathway to citizenship. We do forgive you for that initial crime, that initial law that you broke. We can forgive you because you've proven yourself to be a very productive citizen. You have your beautiful children here. And that would sound like a Christian. Not the angry, hateful, fearful things that we hear from Christians all the time. And it's shameful to me that here's an opportunity for Christians to exercise their powerful belief system of forgiveness. I consider it the biggest. It's really what's going to bring peace on earth. It is such a major value system that you should readily embrace it. If you call Christ into your heart, if you really do have the belief that Jesus and what he stands for is part of your life. And that's where I have trouble, because that doesn't seem to be a part of the life. What seems to be a part of the life is that we live here, this is our country, we don't want anyone else to be here because we fear them. We think they're here to kill us or take our jobs. None of that which is true, but it keeps you in that dark place. And if you can't reach out and forgive, you're always going to be in that dark place. Always. You're never going to know what it means to love, to really help people that are in need. I mean, you may give to your favorite charity and all this, but immigration is a national issue. There are just some big issues that are bigger than, what little tithing you can give to your local church. It's not enough. I mean, it's great if you can sponsor families and you can have people come to and live in your house and you can help them, give them a leg up, a hand up, not a handout. You teach them the way to try to take care of themselves, be productive, be the kind of productive citizens you want. But instead, you're just being hateful. And you're living in fear, which only shows to me that you really don't have the love of Christ in you. Because if you did, you would want to exercise that feeling. But you don't. I don't know why you don't, but you don't. And on a personal level, I wanted to share that, I have had several situations where I have caused tremendous pain to somebody. I was married early on in my life. I had an affair, and I had 2 children at the time. And, affairs do what they do. Adultery is what it is. It's a very destructive thing to do to a family, and I really hurt them. I hurt my ex-wife. I hurt my 2 children. I did end up getting divorced. But it took quite a lot for me to forgive myself for acting that way, for just betraying somebody. So it's a very difficult place to come to. It's very humbling. It's very much what you have to do. It's one thing that you can forgive others, but if they're not in a place to receive your forgiveness in the proper spirit it's given, then you really can't complete the cycle of forgiveness. Now, you can do it for yourself. You can just say, okay, I know I really did something awful, and I came to an understanding as to why, and I really did work hard to make myself a better person. So the forgiveness works both for you individually and then for others as well. But as far as my ex-wife, she could not forgive me. That's why we got divorced. She could not. And unfortunately, as much as I repented, I took all of the blame. I even had the marriage annulled because of my indiscretion, my sin, my whatever you want to call it. And so I was in a place of, I was there ready to receive whatever forgiveness she can receive. But she couldn't. So that forgiveness cycle was left incomplete. I had regretted my actions. I cried. I repented. I did all the things and felt them sincerely. This was not just some kind of just checking off the box or something. I tried to make amends. I did continue to pay my child support for 15 more years. I worked hard to stay in my children's life. And that's another source of pain for me as well, because one of my sons readily could forgive me, and we have a close relationship, and it's good. My other son could not, so it's just something that could never be finished, and it's too bad because, I can live in that regret. I do need to constantly forgive myself for that. So the destruction of sin is in need of forgiveness for real healing. So I have gone through the hell of that. And then in another marriage, I betrayed her financially. Still, it was devastating, and I really was brought to my knees, and I did not want that marriage to end. And she forgave me. So that cycle was completed. And that's what allowed us to heal and to grow. And that powerful relationship between two people, the forgiver and the forgivee, creates such a tremendous healing. It's a beautiful connection. And you don't have to be a Christian to feel it. Everybody can feel this. You can see the power of forgiveness. So that's why it's a Christian value that I absolutely embrace. So the joy of that relationship, that completion of the cycle of forgiveness is exactly what we need. That's exactly what the world needs. You need it on a personal level. You need to do it for yourself. You need to do it for anyone that has done something wrong. If you've done something wrong for somebody, you should also reach out. And that goes for people who come to this country. Why do you think they come to this country? Because the countries that they come from, they're not good. They're not respecting their rights. They're terrorizing them. They're threatening their families. Some in the name of their God. So we need to be open. We need to forgive. So, change your political view on immigration. It's a start. You should do some forgiveness of yourself. Realize, my God, I've not really lived up to the Christian value of forgiveness. I've not really made that deep connection using the power of Christ's love in my life. You're not doing that. I'm ready to forgive, but you have to come to that place. If you're going to stay in that place of fear and hatred and be so stubborn that you think, no, I'm never going to change my mind. I'm never going to come to a place where I might forgive immigrants who come to this country because you can't. You can't let go of the fear. And if you can't let go of the fear, then there's no way you're going to ever embrace real forgiveness the way Christ intended. And that's really sad. So, forgiveness is something that is going to heal this world. And it should start with you. It should start with your life. Somewhere in your life, there's some incomplete cycle of forgiveness. Either you're not forgiving somebody, or you're not in a place to receive someone's forgiveness. And there must be thousands of those kind of relationships. Incomplete cycles of forgiveness that you can attend to. And I ask that you attend to that. You are better than you, if you call yourself a Christian, and yet you have these kind of attitudes. And immigration is just a perfect example, because part of the solution to dealing with our immigration issue is the idea of forgiveness, built right into it. And yet that is the line drawn in the sand. We will not cross it. No one gets amnesty. And this is coming from people who supposedly have Christ in their heart. And that's what really makes me sad, because I don't get it. If you really are a Christian, you need to honestly assess this and look at that. And you have to really come to some kind of awareness that, we really should be opening our hearts up. We should really be in a place to forgive those who only wanted what was best for their family. They wanted the same things you want. They want the safety of a good society, a loving society, a society that wants to care and protect. We're not living up to our ideals when we do this kind of thing, when we have that kind of thinking. So if you think of yourself as a Christian first and a conservative second, then you're already living in conflict. Because if you truly have at least this one value of Christ, the Christ of forgiveness, the cycle of forgiveness, the whole idea, the spirit of forgiveness, the idea of having compassion, of wanting to reach out and help. And for those that really just want to help themselves and do what they can in a world where it's hard to find safe places to live. And of course you'll argue, well, that's why we don't want them here. Because they're here to destroy us. No, it's just not true. And if you really had the strength of Christ in your